Hey, Global Peace Project, this is Zeus. What's going on? Today is the day. Today is the day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Today's gonna be a good day. So today is the day. This is 777. If you're doing it without the 2025, just 25, 2, 5, 7, seventh month, seventh day. 7, 7, 7, 7. What a moment in time. Is there any other moment than right now? I don't think so. So, what does that mean in the whole scheme of things? And I was thinking about what it is that I see. I see a world of peace, love, joy, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. And why? Because we can. That's the thing. It's a choice of being that. And once we become that, then that which we see becomes that. And that's an interesting thought because if indeed the sciences are right, which I'm leaning to its agreement with the spiritual side that I've learned, and that is so intriguing that the words of whatever reality that was trying to say it's not true kind of fade off into a lingering like, oh, you know, because really the fact is, as a man thinketh, or woman, so they become. And if you're becoming that which you're thinking about most of the time, and in the book Think and Grow Rich, and also the book The Law of Success in 16 Lessons, tells us that a man or a woman can think their way into the very death that they think is coming because they thought so. Auto-suggestion, right? And belief, and the belief factor is the factor that actually expands our reality and places it into a conformed image that we see in the holographic image. It's a lot of stuff. But so as I was taught, we're on planet ship Earth, rocketing through a sea of space, right? Which is kind of interesting. And if this is indeed truth, then we think to ourselves, why is it that we've got a bunch of lines all over this planet saying this is my space, and all that stuff there, and you cannot come through my space? Why? Because this is my stuff. And I'll hold on to my stuff so greedily that it will rot, right? Instead of just being the expansive version of self. And that thought put into my mind just the thought that if here in America they throw away more food than what would take to feed the entire planet, from my understanding, 3 times a day, right? And we're throwing it away. And that is an interesting concept if you think about it, because most people eat way too much anyway. So, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing when you consider that you got all these lines stating this is our state here and we can tax you this and this is this and this is this and this is this and we got another country here now country's involved. Now how did this country come about that it's separated from us? Say it's Mexico and yet it's part of, and Canada, which is part of, and Alaska, and then you go all over these different places. You have all these lines, people saying, this is my place, my time, my this, my that, where we have the power today to actually have one people, one place, one time, and stop all this bullshit of separating all these stupid stuff and just put into practice the love machine that we can do by raising everybody's expectations of what they need to do, and then training them in that type of message. And it's not that it won't take that long because we have Wi-Fi. We have the ability to contact everybody on the planet pretty damn instantly. And with that being the case, the shift can happen now. The 100 Monkey Syndrome, right? The 100 Monkey Syndrome. You've got 3 islands down Papua New Guinea. I'm not too familiar with all the details. I'm just going to tell the experiment that I've heard. So you have these 3 islands. There's one indigenous species of monkey that lives on all 3 islands. Too far apart to swim back and forth, right? Because there's sharks and stuff like that, and they just wouldn't do it. But you got 3 islands that have one species of monkey, and that's the only place on the planet that's there. So they ran an experiment, and they put sweet potatoes on all 3 islands, and the monkeys enjoyed eating those sweet potatoes when they got into eating them. And then the researcher on Island C started taking his sweet potato to the side of the river or the ocean, washing it in the salt water, and then eating it. And so the monkeys were watching. And then one monkey, monkey C, monkey do, he started doing it. And then a couple more monkeys on Island C. A and B don't even know anything about this. They're too far away. And then 100 monkeys on Island C did it, and then every monkey on all 3 islands started doing it. It was a DNA connection of habit, and then it got into the field, but when a certain percentage of monkeys did it, then every one of them, it just fed straight into the DNA, right? And that's the same thing with the people. So in order to be, do, and have heaven on earth, you have to start living it by giving it and being it. And then it's kind of like love, which is kind of an interesting conversation when you think about love, because it just is. And the fact of the matter is, that which I give, I'm a direct recipient of the feeling that I'm giving. Writes a new story, right? When you understand that, you're the recipient of that which you're giving out. It's the mirror. And so if I'm the recipient of the mirror that I'm sending out to the world, what mirror am I sending? I'm the direct feeler of the mirror that I'm sending out. And so if everybody's a reflection of me in the hologram that I'm living, because there's only one energy source on the planet, which is the God source, we're all bits and pieces. And when you go to the Ho'oponopono, it's my thought process. What I think about you is me thinking, right? And so how did I ever discover this thought? Was it by your action, or was it by something that triggered me into a thought process? Because a lot of times that happens, and then the creation of ensues because as a man or a woman thinketh, so they become. It's an interesting thing, and it's really, it disarms a lot of the emotions that I held. And so when I was able to actually hold on to it and actually utilize the truth in that me was the seer and the feeler of that which is in the past. Why? Because it's my imagination that was bringing it up. Every time I thought about the past, had nothing to do with that person. It was me imagining it. And when I understood that, I thought, what? And I torment myself because the subconscious brain doesn't know the difference between what's experienced out here and what's experienced inside my mind, in my subconscious, my imagination center. Because the pyramid of life is mentalism, thought process, imagination, which is me in my mind. My thought process builds the reality that I live through the atoms collapsing in the field. And you know, if you had a tough time of life, like I had some issues, and I'm not going to get into any of it, but the fact is, I had some trials and tribulations, and it was me punishing me because I thought that's what was supposed to happen. I got into the habit of punishing me. Why? Because when I was a child, I always got punished for something or whatever, and so then it became a habit. Someone's got to do it, right? That's where a lot of people now. I don't know about anybody else but me, but I did have a cutting thing going on for a little bit. It was more of a scratching thing, like bobby pins, you know, those push pins. So, and it was the time when I decided I wasn't going to feel any love because I'd been hurt so much by the people that love me, so they say the most. It's kind of funny, isn't it? And then I became the doer of that too. You hurt the people that you love. Why? Because you love them. And that was what was taught to me. That is a bullshit statement. And it's reality though. Because I was in a habit of it. You know? So, what does that mean really? Unless I discover a way to become that which is not the same as what was in before, then I'm guaranteed to repeat the past over and over again. You know, it's kind of like that golden ratio, baby, because it's just a repeating. And a lot of times I heard about that in anger management, right? And it's called the cycle of violence or the honeymoon cycle, right? So, yeah, it's all up to you as a person to live whatever you feel faithful in doing. I believe, and if people want to, I would highly suggest Billy Carson, Forbidden Knowledge. Dude's great, got so much information. He's a scientist, he's a geologist, does all this type of stuff. And you know what? Fun thing about it too is he researches what he does, and you can fact check him. Some of the facts, some numbers and stuff like that, I've seen different. You know, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's the kind of like the godfather of epigenetics because he was the lead scientist on the genome effect, and he's also the author of what's called epigenetics, the biology of belief. Amazing stuff. Now, there's also a great book. It's called Power of Belief by Claude Bristol, written in the 30s, and a lot of all this stuff is that which was right before is coming back around. It has to because you know the truth is always the strongest thing. And what is the truth? What have I found to be the truth? I found this to be the truth. That every day in every way it gets better, better, and better. If you think so. Right? As Ford said, you know, you can think you can or think you can't. Either way, you're right. But it also gets worse if you think so, because it's your mind that's actually directing your vessel in the sea of space. And everybody's direction can be 150 million times different, and it's still going to work out. Why? Because you're always meant to be here, always meant to hear this. Right? You're always meant to be reminded of who you were. You are the beginning and the end of whatever experience you're having at this moment. It's just a journey, and you'll wake up in another experience. You've always done that. It's just working a completion. How can you make your days be the best? And I've been doing a little writing and stuff like that and putting stuff together and say, okay, what is it I want to do today where I can build upon some type of momentum forward into what I want most. So, today is that day, right? Get done what you can and then be the best you can be within that there. And remember always the momentum cycle. Success breeds action. Success breeds action. Action breeds results. results breed success, right? The success cycle. Success breeds action, right? So as you get more successful and you move forward, what'll happen is you're going to put some action to your stuff, and the action will bring results to the things in your life. Guaranteed, right? And whether it's right or wrong, you see, you're always going to get a result, but it gives you a bearing to go forward. And when you go forward, that's the secret, because you're either creating or you're dying, right? And you're creating in your mind, or you're just fucking dying and you see people dying all the time because they sit down and they just belly up to the whatever is going on, get stuck inside the mud. Anyway, great day today. Remember, every day in every way you get better, better, and better. And today is the day of your amazing good fortune because you're thinking and you're doing the best you can. Right? Blessings.